Look down from your window.
Dr. the Honorable Priya Devi Manichan, Minister of Education in absentia. Dr. Marcel Hudson, Chief Education Officer and staff of the Ministry of Education. Mr. Alfred King, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education. Members of the Diplomatic Corps. Ms. Patricia Ann McPherson, Chair and Board of Governors, members of the Board of Governors of the Cyril College of Education, international, regional, and national partners in education, CARICOM, UNESCO, Commonwealth of Learning, University of Guyana, University of the West Indies Mona Campus, Caribbean Examinations Council, National Accreditation Council Guyana. Dr. Viola Rowe, AA, Principal of the Cyril College of Education, Mrs. Noella Joseph, Ms. Kevon Sears, Ms. Tamsin Henry Granville, Vice Principals of the Cyril College of Education, CPCE heads and coordinators of centers, departments, and units, graduates and their guests, members of the media. The Cyril College of Education 8th to 7th graduation exercises is now called to order. Please permit me to recite today's inspiration. Almighty God, we who are here gathered together do most humbly beseech Thee to guide us in all our consultations, so that we may together build a land where knowledge is free, where the mind is without fear, and the head is held high, and where words come from the depth of truth. Grant us, O God, Thine aid and guidance, so that we may deal justly with several causes that come before us, laying aside all private interests, prejudices, and personal preferences, so that the result of our counsels may be to the glory of Thy blessed name, the maintenance of true religion, the preservation of justice, the safety, honor, and happiness of the President, and the peace and prosperity of Guyana. Grant us, O God, the vision so to lead, that all the people of this fair land may enter into that state of brotherhood and unity, where the mind is led forward by Thee into ever-widening thought and action. Amen. May we all stand and recite the National Pledge. Let us begin. I pledge myself to honor always the flag of Guyana and to be loyal to my country, to be obedient to the laws of Guyana, to love my fellow citizens, and to dedicate my energies towards the happiness and prosperity of Guyana. Thank you kindly. You may have your seats. I will now invite to the podium our student representative, Mr. James Osborne, to come forward and welcome and introduce our chairperson for this morning's proceedings.
All protocols observed. It is my task to introduce the person who will guide us through today's graduation exercises. This lady has worked in all the various tiers of education, from nursery to tertiary, for over 4 decades. But looking at her now, you can tell. Records reveal that our chair was one of the top student teachers who graduated in the 1974 to 1976 batch and received the Guyanese Teachers Union Prize as a teacher with a great potential for excellence. There is no doubt about this because soon after she graduated from the University of Guyana with a distinction in a Diploma of Education in the teaching of English. Our chair has had a distinguished tenure in the field of education. She has served as the head of the language department of the Queen's College and later received a scholarship to study at the University of London, where she graduated with a Master's of Arts degree in Education and Development. On her return to Guyana, she worked at the National Center for Education Resource Development and was a part of the team who worked diligently in developing a literacy hour for all primary schools in the country. It is with this repertoire of skills that our chair then moved into the education system in Botswana, working at the University College with emphasis on upskilling teachers in the secondary system in Botswana. After a 6-year sojourn, she returned home and joined the education program at the CARICOM Secretariat. With her acquired skills and knowledge, she focused on the areas of early childhood development, TVET, teacher training, and had the distinction of serving as the project manager of the CARICOM Human Resource Development 2030 strategy, the blueprint that guides education and training policies in the Caribbean community. It is with this background that our chair was invited to serve as the head of the board of governors of this college. She's leading a great team of experts and brings that same sense of excellence and dedication to the position. She's now serving a second term in this position. Ladies and gentlemen, graduates, special invitees, I have the distinct pleasure to welcome Ms. Patricia Ann McPherson as chair of today's 87th graduation exercises of our esteemed institution, and I ask you to join me in welcoming her to the podium. Ms. Patricia.
Good morning. It is indeed an honor to be here at my alma mater. I would have never have thought that one day that I'd be asked to lead this esteemed institution, and it deserves to be called an institution. When we think that today we are celebrating 87 years in terms of graduating teachers who have been in the laboratory here at CPCE and putting them in the school system to ensure that the quality that they have garnered here, they would take to their classrooms. We welcome you here today. And on behalf of the college, we want to say that we are in for a wonderful experience. We will be here as we listen to our esteemed principal and her report. We have a number of selections, and I guess we're going to come to that part of our graduation where we will hear from the students who will be receiving all of those wonderful prizes. I wonder for a moment, our camera can focus on that table with all of the trophies. That is indicative of the standard and the excellence that this institution is known for. I mean, we have trophies, I think they look like perhaps 10 feet. To me, this is symbolic of what will happen when our teachers and the recipients of those would have received their prizes. It is my pleasure, as I introduce and welcome Mr. Roy Short. Mr. Roy Short is one of our principal partners in this institution. I asked the principal a while ago if he was once a student here, and she leaned over to me and she whispered, he has worked tirelessly in this institution. So ladies and gentlemen, those looking virtually, let us welcome Mr. Roy Strode as he does his rendition. Roy? mean, the audience is small, but I'm sure we can do much, much better than that. Come on, let's put our hands together. In my introduction, I was told, the audience was told that I like to consider myself steeped in Tibet. And as I listened to Roy, I'm saying that, Roy, you would automatically have a level 5 or the highest in Tibet, a master in your craft. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to give him another big round of applause. And principal and staff, I challenge us that perhaps as we think of Roy as a partner of our institution, that we should set aside some time in our program where Roy can come and teach some of our students to play that instrument. I won't mind to be, I mean, I'm not there, but I wouldn't mind being a part of that. I'm sure I'm not too old for it. So as we think about that, Roy, something to think about, that perhaps the college can invite you in terms of our enrichment program, that you can come and help us, that very craft that you have, to share it with our students. Ladies and gentlemen, our Dr. the Honorable Priya Devi Manichan, our Minister of Education. She's not here in person, but I'm sure that she is perhaps part of the audience. Our Chief Education Officer, Dr. Marcel Hudson, Mr. Alfred King, our Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, members of the Board of Governors, our international, regional, and national partners in education. And you will forgive me if I specifically mention the CARICOM Secretariat, because that is a part of who I was and perhaps still am. I don't know if our program manager, the past program manager, might be listening, but members of the CARICOM Secretariat, our strong partners in UNESCO and UNICEF, and the Commonwealth of Learning, the University of Guyana, the University of the West Indies, our Mona campus, our Caribbean Examination Council, our National Accreditation Council of Guyana. I'm going to skip the next person and go on to our vice principals of this institution, Mrs. Noella Joseph, Ms. Kevon Sears, Ms. Stanson, Henry Granville, our heads of centers, our coordinators, departments, and units. Permit me also to recognize in our presence the President of the Guyana Teachers Union, Mr. Mark Light, our graduates and their guests, members of the media. We've come to a very important element in our program this morning, and it is the principal's report. When I saw the document, I said, what a thing to have done. It meant that this was a lot of hard work and dedication. And I have the honor of working with this lady. Last time she stood at the podium to speak and to report on her activities in the institution, she was there as Miss Viola Rowe. Today, we welcome her in the capacity as principal of the institution, but with the credentials of Dr. Viola Rowe, and she has received the National Award, AA. For me, it is a distinct pleasure to introduce her as she comes to share with us the activities of her institution for the period for this year, 2021, part of 2022. Dr. Rowe, we invite you as you come and deliver your report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mrs. Patricia Ann McPherson. Good morning, everyone. The Honorable Dr. Priya Devi Manik Chand, Minister of Education in absentia. My beloved Chief Education Officer, Dr. Marcel Hudson. I wish at this time also to recognize the presence of Mr. Alfred King, Permanent Secretary, the Ministry of Education, our members of the Diplomatic Corps, our members of Board of Governors CPCE, the President of the Guyana Teachers Union, Brother Mark Light, our international, regional, and national partners in education, CARICOM Secretariat, the UNESCO, UNICEF, Commonwealth of Learning, our colleagues from the University of Guyana, the University of the West Indies, Mona Campus, our colleagues from the Caribbean Examination Council, our National Accreditation Council Guyana representative, all the hardworking vice principals, Mrs. Noella Joseph, Miss Kevin Sears, Mrs. Tamsin Henry Granville, and all the hardworking heads of centers and departments and units of this college, our lecturers, our support staff, the graduates, our special guests, their families, friends, well-wishers, and members of the media. It is with distinct pleasure and honor that I stand here this morning, the 19th of January 2022, to present the graduation report for the period September 2020 to December 2021. This report is presented under the theme, Remaining Steadfast and Determined in this New Dispensation of Education. The Cyril Potter College of Education, CPCE, also referred to in this report as the college, is the only institution in Guyana with the mandate to provide initial teacher education and training. Since formal teacher education was introduced in Guyana in September 1928, the institution has over 9 decades experienced many strategic transformations, including expansion in the number of centers, curriculum offer, and modality. Today, the college registers its commitment to a new education dispensation in a hybrid approach involving the use of a learning management system and in-person face-to-face interactions for teacher education delivery. Hence, the institution must continue to make the strategic transformations and adjustments necessary to remain current and relevant. It is reasonable to state that because the college is one of the learning providers in a global higher education ecosystem, it is not impervious to changes in the educational landscape triggered by priorities at the national, regional, and international levels. Madam Chair, during the reporting period, the college continued to align its operations to the guiding priorities at the following levels. Nationally, the Guyana 2019-2023 Education Sector Plan, which seeks to move the 73% of trained teachers in the system to 100% by 2023. This will definitely reduce inequities and improve teachers' performance and quality. Regionally, the CARICOM Human Resource Development Strategy, that's the 2030 strategy, that focuses on redressing the education systems inefficiencies, and also the regional standards for teachers, teacher educators, and education leaders. These standards require alignment to teacher training programs and curricula within education systems and qualifications across the CARICOM community. Internationally, Sustainable Development Goal 4. This goal refers to quality education that is equitable and promotes opportunities for all, and in the context, the SDG 4C, which is about increasing the supply of qualified teachers globally by 2030. In the last reporting period, the college informed on the extent to which the COVID-19 pandemic exposed its vulnerability concerning the quick and active shift from the traditional face-to-face instruction to online learning to meet the needs of our learners and the expectations of our clients and customers. It was a trying time for the college. But with support from the chair and members of the CPC Board of Governors and education partners and colleagues near and far, the college remained resilient and was flexible as it embraced the new education dispensation. Madam Chair, the college scrutinized the guiding priorities identified above and pulled out 4 main themes under which this report is presented. These themes are teacher supply and demand, access, equity, and quality. Implicit to these priorities is the use of technology in this new dispensation of education. Looking at teacher supply and demand, the supply of trained teachers is dependent on the demand for teacher education. Madam Chair, we know that the greater the level of professionally trained teachers is positively correlated with improved student performance. And this is from the literature, Ali and Hamhaz 2018, and some other writers. Because trained teachers are exposed to teaching methodologies and strategies to excite learners and stimulate learning. Looking at the demand for education during the period, the college experienced an astronomically high demand for teacher education, with an enrollment of 2,664 first-year applicants, disaggregated as 2,608 students for the Associate Degree in Education 2-year program, 21 students for the ADE 1-year program, and 35 for the Trained Teachers Certificate program. Coupled with the number of continuing students at the time, the overall student population for the reporting period was 3,479. Madam Chair, prior to this reporting period, the online application option was unavailable, which perhaps restricted knowledge and consequently applications from potential students, knowledge of what exists, what is offered. Further, enrollment size was restricted due to physical space and dormitory capacity for pre-service students on campus. The college saw the effectiveness of technology as a contributor to the number of applicants and applications received online for the reporting period. Albeit, the increase in teacher demand is also credited to the clarion call by Dr. the Honorable Minister Manik Chand for all untrained teachers to register at the college, in keeping with the strategic plan of the ministry to have 100% trained teachers in the education system by 2023. Nonetheless, in consideration for potential applicants with technology and connectivity issues, hard copy submissions of applications was an option. Access. In this report, we look at access defined as widening participation. Again, from literature, writers like Archer, Hutchins, and Ross and James, 2007, differentiated between increased participation and widening participation. The former refers to a larger enrollment size, just that, while the latter targets vulnerable groups. The term vulnerable groups means working students, students with young children and families, students living in the hinterland and riverine areas, and aptly fits the national context in which the college operates. Over the decades, the college, in demonstrating its values for access through widening participation, has contributed to reducing the inequalities in the provision of teacher education and training, with an increase in the number of teachers across centers. According to the data, we see I just want to share this with you because it's really relevant that you hear this. Sorry that you cannot see the table from where you're sitting. But in Region 1, we see a move from the previous year to the current year application, increase in applicants and registered students moving to 817%. In Region 2, 248%. Region 3, 257%. Region 4, 376%. Region 5, 261%. Region 6, 224%. Region 7, 1,875%. Region 8, 1,300%. Region 9, 395%. And Region 10, 2,252%. To our listening audience, Madam Chair, if this is not a demonstration of widening participation, we're not sure what is in these times. I'm happy to announce that the college continued to operate its 19 centers across the 10 administrative regions in Ghana, over 3 pre-service centers, and 16 in-service centers. For the reporting period, Madam Chair, it is incumbent upon me to advise on these centers' location. Again, when we look at the spread, we see we have centers in Region 1, Mabaruma, Maruka, Port Kaituma. In Region 2, we have 2 centers, 1 in-service center and a pre-service center. We have our teacher training center in Breeden Hoop, Region 3, Region 4, Turkana and Georgetown, Region 5, St. Francis, Region 6, New Amsterdam and Rose Hall, Region 7, Bartica, Cameron, Region 8, Madhya, Parmakatoy, Region 9, Letham, Aishalton and Anai, Region 10, Linden and St. Lust. We also continue to offer at least one of our 3 programs in each center. The Associate Degree in Education program, 1 year, as well as the 2-year program, the Trained Teacher Certificate program, and the Teacher Upgrading program. Equity during the reporting period. Equity in education, just to share and to remind some of us, many of you, we know because we have been in this business for a long time, but equity in education is a measure of educational achievement such that every individual student is given fair treatment and opportunity to be successful. This is from Lynn and Nasri 2019. Madam Chair, for this report, the college presents equity in program expansion and expansion of specialization office. In the previous reporting period, we shared that the college offered the ADE program in 8 centers, the TTC program in 11 centers, and the teacher upgrading program in 4 centers. in demonstrating equity by narrowing the gap between programs offered in the hinterland and coastal centers. The ADE program was added to 9 other centers for the current period. This expansion is noteworthy because, for the first time since the implementation of the ADE program in 2010, the program is offered in 17 or 89% of our centers across the administrative regions. The TTC program, having been restricted to the hinterland areas in 2012 to cater for teachers in the system who could not matriculate to the ADE or because of family commitment could not travel to Turkine and being resident to access the ADE program, was extended to 5 centers to facilitate untrained teachers who cannot matriculate to ADE program. Hence, the TTC program was offered in 84% of our TTC centers across the administrative regions. Expansion of areas of specialization. Additionally, Madam Chair, for the reporting period, the pre-vocational courses, home economics, business studies, agricultural science, industrial technology, and information technology, that were traditionally restricted to the Turkine, Georgetown, and Reading Hoop centers because of the lack of capacity in other centers, was available in 100% of our centers. The role of technology. In this new education dispensation, the college embraced the opportunity provided as a result of the COVID-19 restrictions and went fully online, though not solely, with the establishment of the Moodle platform. Watson 2008 explained fully online as students accessing the curriculum online, with options for face-to-face interactions, selected days for field work, lab work, and practical. This definition fits our context because of the need for us to interact with our students in the practical setting for practicum and practically oriented subjects or components of subjects that are practically oriented. The literature discussed technology as a significant focus of higher education because distant learning and e-learning or online learning are modalities of higher education provision supported by connectivity. The online platform facilitates synchronous and asynchronous learning. This facilitation, however, is not without its limitation. From the literature, for example, Lee T. and Shaw, 2013, found the use of technology in the learning and teaching process to differ because of the lack of availability of technology and supporting infrastructure, teaching staff knowledge about technology and technology integration, as well as their inclination to use technology in classrooms. During the reporting period, the college experienced the merits and demerits of using technology in the teaching and learning environment. While technology supports online learning, the lack of connectivity in the hinterland and riverine areas limits student access to the online platform. In looking at quality as a theme from the guiding priorities, quality, we know it's a relative concept. It means different things to different persons. Nonetheless, higher education uses specific performance indicators, such as students' examination results, staffing, and facilities, to measure quality. Madam Chair, the college takes this opportunity to underscore the importance of quality in every sphere of its operations, including students and learning, leadership and management, collaboration, operational improvement, and evidence-based decision-making. The college has a quality policy where it is adumbrated that the institution will meet all the regulatory requirements of the National Accreditation Council Guyana and ISO 9001. Specifically, the quality management system is necessary because it will help us to shift our emphasis on the quality of, as mentioned earlier, every aspect of the operations of the college. Madam Chair, the college is aware that the achievement of the benefits of a quality management system strategy is dependent on top management engagement of every person who affects quality within the college as they move, and they must have the required competence or be given training or retraining in the principles and dimensions of quality and quality control measures. Further, top management must understand why it is necessary to measure processes, trends, and declare non-conforming services, and must not conceal them. At this juncture, I hasten to add that for the reporting period, the college engaged the National Accreditation Council Guyana and agreed on a follow-up meeting for the continuation of the preparation workshops regarding the accreditation of the institution. This meeting is scheduled for the first quarter of 2022. Notwithstanding the planned meeting regarding advancing quality assurance at the college, the institution, having enrolled for the reporting period 2,664 new students, found it necessary to conduct an operational audit to assess gaps in the performance regarding student engagement in specific courses and in relation to lecturers. Quality in relation to staffing. The operational audit also revealed that the staffing complement was inadequate to respond to the large intake of students. From the audit findings, of the 6 broad subject disciplines, education, mathematics, English, modern languages, vocational studies, science, and social studies, 21%, 3%, and 29% of the first-year students were not engaged in linguistics, education, and Spanish, respectively. Madam Chair, it must be noted that once the college was given the mandate to widen participation in teacher education, the institution interviewed applicants for full-time and part-time appointments. 88 teaching staff were proposed for part-time employment and 7 for full-time employment. Madam Chair, we are pleased to report that of the 88 part-time teaching staff proposed, 93% were appointed. The college, however, awaits the full-time appointment. Support staff. 17 support staff members were employed on petty contracts to manage the newly established technology unit within the admissions division. These staff members brought added value to the college when the college transformed from the traditional mode of face-to-face and print mode delivery to online delivery. Consequently, the college recommended full-time employment for these 17 staff for job security. We know job insecurity can lead to staff attrition and a dysfunctional system. The diagnostic team was deployed to the college during the reporting period to assess the capacity of the institution to deliver a new education dispensation. Madam Chair, the college awaits feedback from this team and interactions and consultations with the Board of Governors and Central Ministry on the recommendation of the team to improve inefficiencies in quality issues at the college. Data and quality, value of data to quality assurance. Madam Chair, the college continues to demonstrate its value for data-driven decision-making as part of its quality management system. Hence, we continue to operate steeped in data during the reporting period. For example, the college conducted a survey on student engagement where 27% of the student population responded to the survey, 56% in-service students and 44% pre-service students. We had a representative presence from all administrative regions. Sample of the questions asked in the survey is as follows. Did you start your program on time? 69% of the students said yes, 31% said no. Were you able to access your resources on a Moodle platform? 91% said yes, 4% said no, and 5% said they did not know how. Another question in the survey asked for the major challenge with the Moodle platform. Responses received: understanding the organization of the material, 40%, accessing courses, 20%, accessing resources for independent study, 34%. And another question we'll share with you, the general challenge with online learning. 48% of our respondents identified connectivity, 34% identified other responsibilities such as work and family commitment, and 18% said they had challenges studying on their own. The college used the data gathered for reassessment and intervention concerning approaches for students who commenced the program after the official start date because of internet and other challenges, as came out in the survey. Data also guided the conduct of peer review of the content uploaded to course containers, that's on the Moodle platform, the involvement of external education partners to deliver campus conversations and workshops regarding student engagement and support in the online environment, studying and study skills, and coping with psychosocial issues in a COVID-19 environment. Madam Chair, connectivity seems to be the most significant challenge to our students for online engagement. This is based on the data collected. Moreover, we are aware of the technology gaps across centers. We know where the centers are located. We share this with you. And coming out from the survey, we also have information regarding the internet points in relation to our centers. And because we know this information, as a contingency measure, the college distributed over 2,500 preloaded flash drives to students in the hinterland and river regions 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, and 9. Madam Chair, the internet challenges proved grievous to the online component of the teacher education delivery in the reporting period. However, the college is heartened by the government's commitment to ensuring internet access through fiber optic cables across Guyana and intends to provide sustainable and reliable internet connectivity in all riverine and hinterland communities. Challenges during the reporting period. 3 of the significant challenges experienced in the reporting period were staff paucity in critical areas, financial constraints due to the unprecedented number in new student intake, and aesthetic degradation resulting from increased vending in the front of the college. Staff paucity. The non-engagement of students in the areas of linguistics, Spanish language, and early childhood education because of the paucity of staff as revealed by the organizational audit highlights one of the challenges faced during the reporting period. To address the absence of critical staff and the non-engagement of students in linguistics, Spanish language, and early childhood education, the college rearranged its timetable to accommodate these areas in the 3rd semester of the program. We recognize, though, that this approach is a short-term one, and therefore, to assure quality, We would seek other avenues to address critical staff needs. For example, expand our search for critical staff at the regional